Zack Snyder's Star Wars? Not exactly, but it's close. The intense first teaser for Netflix's Rebel Moon has finally arrived, and it's so packed with detail that you'll need to light up a laser sword to slice through it all. Rebel Moon is filled with a diverse array of talent, with stars on display like Sophia Boutella, Charlie Hunnam, Jimon Honsu, and even Anthony Hopkins. Teaser viewers may not realize that the movie also happens to be one major Game of Thrones reunion. Rebel Moon happens to feature both actors who played Dario Naharis in the iconic HBO series. The role of Naharis was first portrayed by Ed Skrein, whom audiences may remember from 2016's Deadpool. Skrein's stint as Dario was cut short, and the actor was replaced by Mikhail Hausman. Hausman continued to play the nefarious mercenary until season 6 of Game of Thrones, when his love affair with Daenerys came to an end. As fate would have it, both Darios were hired for Rebel Moon by Snyder. In the upcoming Netflix sci-fi epic, audiences can see Skrein step into the shores of the cruel Admiral Atticus Noble. While details are slim on the character, the first trailer makes it a point to show that Noble and his army is nothing to mess with. On the other hand, Hausman's gunner is siding with the good guys, joining Korra in the battle against the devious Imperium. Zack Snyder loves his mythology.
A king is a man, and a man can fail, but a myth is indestructible.
His vision of the DC universe centered around an interpretation of Superman and heroes like him as gods, beings with so much power and responsibility that they transcended the human experience. These mythic storytelling elements are present in other Snyder films, such as Watchmen, Legends of the Guardian, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, and of course 300. It should come as no surprise then that Rebel Moon is full of Hellenistic details and symbolism. There's a distinct aesthetic that pulls heavily from ancient Greek myth. There are giant stone statues, stone temples, and what appears to be a colosseum of sorts. There's even a straight-up griffin, exchanging the alien creatures of typical sci-fi for mythical beasts of antiquity. All of these touches emphasize the strange juxtaposition of Rebel Moon. It sometimes looks like hard science fiction with laser guns, hulking starships, and sterile metallic environments. Other times it feels more like high fantasy. Shirtless heroes with long flowing hair, fighting to defend their farming village. It remains to be seen if Snyder will be able to synthesize these disparate genres into a compelling whole. Jenna Malone and Zack Snyder have a history together, with the actress appearing in the filmmaker's Sucker Punch, Batman v Superman, and even lending her voice to an upcoming spin-off of Army of the Dead. Not that we're complaining, Jenna Malone improves just about every movie she's ever appeared in. If you're wondering why we're talking about her, you probably didn't spot her in the trailer. Yes, that's right, Malone is playing the creepy spider lady in Rebel Moon. She also seems to have a hostage or victim that she's holding tightly to her chest when she descends, indicating that she's not exactly pleasant to be around. She looks like a force to be reckoned with as she battles one of the Rebel Moon warriors, who is definitely not using a lightsaber. We'll get to that later. As far as a Spider-Woman is concerned, the fact that we've got monster people in this universe definitely bodes well for the inventiveness of Snyder's new playground, and we're excited to see what other strange new creatures might emerge over the course of the movie's sprawling story. Former King of Asgard and Oscar-winning Chianti connoisseur Sir Anthony Hopkins provides a voiceover in the trailer for Zack Snyder's upcoming epic, and it fits like a glove. The only question is, where is he? Between the wild-looking Spider-Woman and massive space battles, wherever could they fit the icon on the silver screen? How about as the voice of a robot named Jimmy? Hopkins is indeed bringing to life Jimmy the Robot, briefly seen throughout the trailer. Described as a robot space knight, Jimmy looks to be documenting the mammoth events surrounding our heroes and the impact they'll have on their world and others.
I was given memories of a world I will never see, and love for a child I could not save.
Could he find a second chance in Sofia Boutella's Cora? Flickers of him with a young girl show he had a strong connection with someone he may have failed to protect. Cora could be the redemption he needs or the mission he was always tasked with achieving. What better bodyguard than a K2SO type figure with optional antlers, and who sounds like Hannibal Lecter. Rebel Moon started as a Star Wars pitch. That's how Zack Snyder originally conceived the idea. And though Disney decided not to give the director the reins to Star Wars, he wound up turning his story into an original property for Netflix.
I'm getting a chance to tell a story that I've been thinking about for quite a while.
Even though it hasn't been a Star Wars movie since the earliest stages of development, there are still some pretty obvious references in the Rebel Moon trailer. The battle against an evil galactic empire with titanic battleships, and the smuggler with the heart of gold. The tropes that Star Wars didn't create, but it certainly popularized. The most obvious bit of George Lucas's universe in the Rebel Moon trailer, though, is the two red lightsabers wielded by Bae Doona's Nemesis character, and the two blue sabers that show up in a brief fight sequence toward the end of the trailer. Though we don't know much about Nemesis, the trailer shows that she fights with a pair of katana-esque swords, both of which glow bright red, like the iconic Sith lightsabers of Star Wars. But are they actually lightsabers? Upon closer inspection, the sword seems to be made of metal and simply glow red because, well, we don't honestly know yet. This would distinguish the weapons from lightsabers, but it probably won't stop the comparisons, and the blue swords later on seem to use the same technology. Is there something special about why these weapons glow? Do they use materials similar to kyber crystals? Hopefully we'll learn more in the run-up to the premiere. There's a whole lot of eye candy to be found in the trailer for Rebel Moon. But one of the more mysterious aspects of it comes down to a literal eye. There's one moment where a group of people are gathered with bags over their heads. On these bags is a symbol of an eye with what looks like a teardrop in the corner. Later in the trailer, there's a moment where people playing violin-like instruments wear similar sacks. Only this time the eye is in gold and looks to be in much better shape. So what does this eye mean? It's hard to tell at this point. It's an original symbol for this new franchise, but based on context, it likely has something to do with subjugation or imprisonment. The first group looks like they're about to meet grisly fates, while the violinists can easily be servants for the ruling class. Wearing such head coverings could be a way for the evil elites to keep the underprivileged in check. Eye symbology is certainly nothing new in media, and this particular icon even looks similar to the Sheikah eye from the Legend of Zelda series. But given the amount of world building Rebel Moon will undoubtedly do, it's safe to say a thorough explanation will be present in the finished product. It's common for directors to reuse iconography across their films. Zack Snyder is usually associated with slow motion and visually arresting cinematography. But it seems he's also a fan of characters kicking people in the chest. Arguably the most famous scene from 300, the movie that put Snyder on the map, is when King Leonidas kicks a Persian messenger into a well.
This is Sparta!
It was parodied numerous times in the years since the film came out, and for good reason. It's a really cool way of dispatching an enemy, and Snyder's getting back to his old tricks by incorporating a similar kick within Rebel Moon. At one point in the trailer, General Titus gives a riveting speech before it cuts to him in combat, kicking an enemy in the chest in a similar manner to 300. As audiences finish watching the teaser trailer for Rebel Moon, they'll likely be wondering, who or what is the Scargiver? While the first part of Rebel Moon is titled Child of Fire, the second part is, in fact, called the Scargiver. So Snyder clearly has big plans for whoever the Scargiver is. And the answer seems pretty straightforward.
I found her. Scargiver.
Seeing as Korra is the main protagonist in Rebel Moon, it stands to reason that she is a Scargiver, and the trailer even appears to introduce her as such. The real question is if the Scargiver is a mythological title that exists in the world of Rebel Moon, or if the moniker is simply one that Korra, or her enemies, created. The trailer kicks off with Jimmy talking about how the world foretold the emergence of the Redeemer, an individual who would stop the madness of war. Seeing as the world is engulfed in chaos, it's likely that the Redeemer failed in their mission. Is it possible that the Scargiver, aka Korra, will be the world's savior? Will she evolve from the Child of Fire into the Scargiver? It seems likely, but who knows what twist Snyder has in store.